Okay, so have you ever to send a similar message to a bunch of people
Oh, yeah.
and you don't want to do a group chat?
Right. Yeah, no, and I think a lot of people are moving away from group chats.
Yeah, exactly. I just want everyone to have their own individual message, but I
Hmm.
don't want to BCC everyone on an email. That just feels weird.
Right. Yeah, no, that feels very impersonal.
So I feel like there has to be a better way.
Okay.
And that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so the tool that we're going to be diving into is called Reach.
Reach.
And I was, we research these tools, and sometimes, I don't know how useful they're going to be.
Right.
But Reach, I actually think this could be a really useful tool for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
So Reach essentially allows you to do exactly what you're talking about, where you send individual messages
Okay.
to a large group of people without them knowing who else is getting that message.
Okay, got it.
And it's really about making it feel more personal rather than just like a blast.
Okay, so when would I actually use this?
So think about it like this. If you had to say thank a bunch of volunteers,
Yeah, okay.
you could individually thank each of them.
Yeah.
Without them see who else got that thank you.
Got it.
Or you could use it to send reminders to your team.
Okay.
Or, any situation where you kind of need to get the same message out to multiple people.
Okay, cool. And so it sounds like the key to this is how you organize these people. How do you actually send it to the right people?
Yeah. So Reach uses what are called groups. And you can think of these as your own curated lists.
Okay.
So, for example, you might have a group for your marketing team,
Got it.
another for key clients, or even a community organization that you're involved in.
Okay, so that way you're not sending client messages to your
All right,
family.
it's all about segmentation.
Cool. Okay, so you build these groups, and then you can write one message,
Mhm.
and then Reach will just handle all the individual sending.
That's exactly right.
Awesome. Okay, now I was looking at this, and it looks like there's a free version and then a more, I guess, intense version.
Yeah, so they give you a free entry point so you can kind of test it out.
Okay.
And that allows you to have up to 2 groups and 8 contacts in each group.
Okay, so if you're just messing around with it.
Exactly. If it's very small scale, or you just want to see if it's for you,
Right.
that's a great way to start.
Totally. And then there's the big dog version.
Yeah, so that's called Reach Unlimited.
Unlimited.
And essentially it just takes away all those limitations.
Okay.
So you get unlimited texting, you can create unlimited groups, you can have unlimited contacts.
Okay.
So it can really grow with you as your needs kind of change.
Got it.
It also includes customer support, which can be a lifesaver,
For sure.
and unlimited cloud backup, so you never lose your data.
That's good.
And then one of the best things is you can actually import contacts from a CSV file.
Okay. Yeah, that would be huge if you have a spreadsheet or something.
Right, exactly. If you're migrating from something else, or you just have all your contacts in a spreadsheet, it's
Super easy.
way easier. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have a pretty good idea of what Reach is. So let's get into how you actually send these messages.
Okay.
Because it looks like there's 2 main ways.
Yes.
There's the just use your existing phone number option,
Right.
and then this new thing they're calling Reach Line.
Yeah.
So let's start with just the standard, I just want to use my number. How does that work?
Yeah. So with the standard Reach Unlimited subscription, that's $6.99 a month.
Okay.
That allows you to send messages using your phone's existing capabilities.
So if I'm texting someone, it's going through my normal SMS or MMS?
Exactly.
Or if they have an iPhone and I have iMessage, it might use that.
It might use that. Yeah. And you can even send emails through Reach,
Okay.
depending on the contact information.
So if I'm paying the $6.99 a month and I send a text to a group in Reach, it's coming from my phone number.
That's right.
Just like any other text.
Exactly. It's seamlessly integrated with your normal communication.
Got it. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And then there's this new thing called Reach Line.
Reach Line. And this is more geared towards business messaging.
Okay, so it sounds like a whole separate thing.
Yeah, it's a whole separate pathway.
Okay, so what's the big difference there?
So what Reach Line does is it actually gives you a brand new phone number.
What?
Yeah, so you get a dedicated 10-digit long code,
Okay.
which is essentially just a regular-looking phone number.
Okay.
And that is used exclusively for texting within the Reach app.
Okay.
And it's totally separate from your personal cell phone plan.
Whoa. Okay, so it's I'm getting a second phone number
Yeah, exactly.
just to use in Reach.
Just for Reach.
Okay, but why would I want to do that? Why wouldn't I just use my regular number?
So the main reason to use Reach Line is because it has much better deliverability
Okay.
and a lower chance of your messages being marked as spam.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So when you send a lot of messages, especially if they all have similar content
Okay.
from a personal number, sometimes the mobile carrier's spam filters,
Yeah.
they kind of get a little overprotective.
They're just doing their job.
They're just doing their job, but it can be annoying.
Right.
So reach line, because it uses these 10-digit long codes, these 10 DLCs,
Okay.
that's kind of like the standard for business messaging.
Okay.
So it basically tells the networks that like you're a legitimate sender
Oh, that's a good point.
and that your messages are not spam.
Okay.
So, especially if you're a business and you're relying on these messages to like reach your customers or coordinate with your team,
Yeah.
you really want to make sure that they're actually getting through.
Totally. Because, I mean, like, we all get so much spam these days.
Yeah, it's like a constant barrage.
I just ignore half my texts.
Right. And so you don't want your important communications to get lost in the noise.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's reach line. So obviously it's got to cost more than the $6.99.
Yes. So reach line is $19.99 a month.
Okay.
And that includes one new phone number
Okay.
and an initial allowance of 500 text messages.
Got it.
And then after that, it's 0.03 per credit.
Okay.
And each credit equals one SMS segment.
Okay, so I think we need to like stop right there and explain what is an SMS segment.
Right. So that's a good point. Unfortunately, the information that we have doesn't give like a super technical definition.
Okay.
But basically, an SMS segment is like the unit
Okay.
that a text message gets broken down into
Okay.
by the mobile carriers.
Got it.
So a standard SMS message has a certain character limit.
Okay.
I think it's like around 160 characters.
Okay.
And if your message goes over that limit,
Uh-huh.
it gets split into multiple segments.
Okay.
And then each segment is sent separately.
So it's like multiple texts.
Kind of, yeah. And often you get billed for each segment.
Got it.
So like using special characters or emojis
Yeah.
can also affect how a message is segmented. So it's important to note that like we don't know exactly how long a message can be
Okay.
before it becomes multiple segments in reach line.
Got it.
So that's something you would probably want to look into.
So you might want to reach out to their customer support.
Yeah. Or like look at their documentation
Okay.
to get the specifics.
But basically, like longer messages might cost more than one credit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So does this $19.99 a month also come with all the benefits of the normal Reach Unlimited plan?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool.
So you get everything we talked about earlier.
So it's not like I'm paying for Reach Line and then I have to pay another $6.99 a month.
No. It's all included.
Sweet. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I decide to go with Reach Line. How do I actually like get my new phone number and start using it?
So there's an initial registration process.
Okay.
And you basically have to provide some information to the cellular operators.
Okay.
And this is to register your like business texting campaign.
Yep.
And make sure you're complying with regulations.
Makes sense.
And that usually takes between 1 and 3 business days.
Okay, so there's like a little bit of a waiting period while they get everything set up.
Right.
Can I still use Reach during that time?
Yeah, absolutely. So during that time, you can keep using Reach
Okay.
with your existing cell phone number.
Okay.
So you're not like blocked from communicating or anything.
Right.
And then once the registration is approved,
Uh-huh.
then you can start sending messages from the Reach app
Okay.
using your new 10 DLC number.
Got it. Okay, so that's pretty much how you get started with Reach Line?
Yep.
Okay, so I think now we have a really good understanding of like how Reach works and how you can choose to send your messages.
Right.
But let's get into the actual meat of it.
Oh.
Like, how do you compose a message? How do you manage your contacts?
Right.
Like all the nitty-gritty details.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So first of all, composing and sending messages.
So to create a new message in Reach, you'll usually look for like a compose icon,
Okay.
which is often like a little pencil icon.
Okay.
And depending on whether you're using Android or iOS,
Hmm.
that might be in a different spot.
Got it.
So on Android, it might be like in the top right corner or the bottom right corner,
Okay.
especially if you're in like the main messages view.
Mm-hmm.
And then on iOS, it's usually in the upper right of the messages screen.
Got it.
And then when you tap on that,
Yeah.
it'll open up a new message window.
Perfect. Okay, and then once you're in that new message window, what can you do?
So you've got the main text field, of course, where you type your message.
Okay.
But Reach also has this cool feature where you can use templates
Okay.
to personalize your messages.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so you'll usually see like a button or an option that says something like insert template fields.
Okay.
And that allows you to like automatically include things like the recipient's first name,
Oh, cool.
their last name,
Okay.
or even other details that you've set up in custom templates.
Okay. Awesome.
So this is what lets you send a message to like 100 people,
Yeah.
but it still feels like you wrote it just for them.
That's awesome. Okay.
Um, and then if you're sending like an email or an MMS message,
Yeah.
you'll also have an option to add a subject line.
Cool.
So you can give a little bit more context.
Okay, so you've written your message, you've personalized it.
Yeah.
What about adding media? Can I put like a picture in there?
Yes, definitely. There's usually like an attachment button,
Okay.
and you could add files like images or other documents.
Okay.
And then once you select a file, it'll usually appear as like a little thumbnail
Got it.
within your message.
Cool.
And you can remove it if you need to.
Okay.
But just keep in mind that like messages with attachments
Yeah.
might get sent as like an MMS or an iMessage,
Okay.
depending on the recipient's device and your settings.
Cool. Okay, so I've written my message, I've added my media. How do I choose who it goes to?
So this is where those groups that we talked about earlier come in.
Right.
So when you're ready to send, you'll have like a button to select your recipient groups,
Okay.
and it'll show you a list of all the groups that you've created.
Yeah.
And you can choose like one or multiple groups
Okay.
to send your message to.
And can I choose like individual people within a group?
Yes, in most cases you can.
Okay.
So if you don't want to send it to the whole list,
Right.
you can just pick and choose who you want to send it to.
Got it. Okay, so I've picked my recipients now.
Yeah.
How does it actually send the messages?
So there are usually two main sending modes.
Okay.
There's manual mode,
Okay.
and then there's fully automatic mode.
Okay, so like with manual mode, do I have to hit send 100 times?
So it kind of depends on the communication method.
Okay.
So sometimes you might need to like manually approve each message
Right.
before it gets sent through your like normal messaging app or email client.
Got it.
But Reach also has a fully automatic mode,
Okay.
which is like way more efficient,
Okay.
especially for like SMS and MMS on Android.
Hmm.
And even for like all message types if you don't have attachments on iOS.
Oh, wow.
And then for reach line messages, you can actually use either manual or fully automatic.
Okay, cool.
So you have a lot of flexibility there.
That's nice.
But yeah, the automatic mode is really nice because it basically just sends all the messages
Yeah.
without you having to do anything.
So it just blasts them all out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, awesome. What if I need to like pause the sending?
So Reach usually has an option to pause and resume a sending.
Okay.
So you'll see like a pause button.
Okay.
And then that'll change to resume once you've paused it.
Got it.
And that lets you like take a break or manage your phone's resources
Okay.
if you're sending like a huge batch of messages.
That makes sense.
And you can resume like right away or you can come back to it later.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty useful feature.
For sure. Okay, so what if I want to send like slightly different versions of the same message?
So Reach has this cool thing called message variations.
And you can basically create and save like a bunch of slightly altered versions of your message.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you send it to a group,
Yeah.
Reach will just automatically send a different version
Oh, wow. Okay.
to each person.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it just kind of like cycles through them.
Got it.
And that can help make your messages look less automated
Okay.
and avoid spam filters.
That's smart.
And some versions of Reach even have like AI that can help you generate those variations.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much composing and sending.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the backbone of all of this, which is the groups and the contacts.
Okay.
So how do you manage all of that stuff?
Okay, so managing groups starts with creating them.
Okay.
And you'll usually find a little plus button
Okay.
somewhere in the groups section of the app.
Got it.
And then when you tap on that, it'll ask you to like enter a name for your group.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. And then once you have a group, how do you start adding people to it?
So there's a few different ways.
Okay.
You can add contacts from your phone's existing contact list.
Okay.
And that's usually just like a little add button.
Okay.
And then the first time you do it, it'll probably ask for permission
Makes sense.
to access your contacts.
Right.
And once you give it permission,
Yeah.
then you can just like select people from your contacts.
Got it.
Or you can add a new contact directly to a group.
Okay.
So if they're not already in your phone's contacts,
Uh-huh.
you can just like enter their details.
And how do you do that?
It's usually like a drop-down menu
Okay.
within the group.
Got it.
And then you can just type in their phone number or email address.
Okay, so that's how you add them one by one.
Right.
What if I have like a huge list?
So for that,
Hmm.
Reach supports importing contacts from a CSV file,
Okay.
which is like a comma-separated values file.
Got it.
And you can usually do that from a file that's either stored on your phone
Hmm.
or on your computer.
Okay.
And it's usually just like going to an import option
Yeah.
and then selecting the file.
Got it.
And then you have to map the columns in your file
Okay.
to like the corresponding fields in Reach.
So like name, phone number, email.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
But it's way easier than adding them one by one.
For sure. Okay, so I've made all these groups. What can I do with them? Like, can I rename them? Can I delete them?
Yeah, so you have a lot of control over your groups.
Okay.
You can rename them
Okay.
if like their purpose changes or if you just want to organize them differently.
Okay.
You can duplicate groups,
Oh, okay.
which is really useful if you need to create a new group
Right.
that's like really similar to an existing one.
Yeah.
And then you can just like make the little adjustments.
Got it.
And of course you can delete groups.
Okay.
And you can usually select multiple groups at once
Cool.
to like delete or duplicate them.
That's convenient.
Yeah. And you can usually sort your groups like alphabetically or by how often you use them.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So you can like easily find the ones you need.
Okay, cool. So we talked about managing the groups themselves. What
Right.
about managing the actual individual contacts?
Okay.
Like once they're in a group.
So for each contact, you can edit like a bunch of different details.
Okay.
So you can edit their first and last name.
Okay.
You can add a nickname if
Okay.
you want to be more personal.
Uh-huh.
You can specify their relationship to you,
Okay.
like if they're a client or a family member.
Got it.
And you can set their default sending method.
Okay.
So like SMS, email, WhatsApp, whatever.
Cool.
If they have multiple phone numbers or email addresses,
Yeah.
you can choose which one Reach should use.
Okay.
There's also usually like a position field.
Okay.
So you can like manually control the order
Okay.
that contacts appear in a group.
Got it.
And then there's even like a translation field
Oh, wow.
if you need to send messages to them in a different language.
That's awesome. Okay.
And you can also like manage templates
Yeah.
that are specific to that contact.
Okay, so that's a lot of stuff for each individual contact.
Yeah, you have a lot of options.
Now what if I want to like make the same change to a bunch of contacts at once?
So Reach usually has this thing called edit multiple contacts.
Okay.
And that lets you select like a bunch of contacts
Okay.
or even all of them in a group.
Uh-huh.
And then you can apply the same change to all of them at once.
Oh, that's super convenient.
Yeah, so like, for example, you might want to set the default sending method to SMS
Right.
for like everyone in a group.
Okay.
Or you could assign a specific template
Cool.
to a bunch of contacts.
Okay, so that's a huge time saver.
Right, exactly.
And you can also usually search for contacts within a group.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we talked about importing contacts and groups. What other data export options are there?
So you can also export your groups and contacts to a CSV file,
Okay.
which is good for like backing up your data
Right.
or transferring it to a different platform.
Got it.
And you can usually import your message history
Okay.
from a CSV file as well,
Okay.
which is useful for like consolidating communication records.
Cool.
And you can also export your message history to a CSV file.
Okay.
But it's worth noting that like attachments might not be included
Okay.
in the CSV file.
Right.
And then Reach might also let you like import and export all of your groups at once
Okay.
and all of your messages at once.
So like a big batch.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about settings and customization.
Okay.
Like what kind of like little tweaks can I make to like make Reach work the way I want it to?
So there are a bunch of settings that you can customize.
Okay.
So like we mentioned earlier, you can set a default sending method
Right.
for new contacts.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an Android phone with 2 SIM cards,
Yeah.
you can usually choose which SIM card Reach should use.
Okay. Okay.
You can also adjust the MMS image size if you're sending a lot of picture messages.
Got it.
And then for email, you can actually configure your own SMTP server settings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you want to use your own email provider instead of the default one.
Got it.
And you can also choose which email client Reach uses.
Okay.
So like your phone's built-in email app
Mm-hmm.
or a third-party app like Citrix Secure Mail.
Got it.
And you can set a specific from address.
Okay, cool.
That'll show up on your emails.
So all the normal email stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about backups? Because that's like super important.
Yes, backups are crucial. So Reach has options for backing up and restoring your data.
Okay.
So on Android, it usually integrates with Google Backup.
Okay.
So your reach data will be backed up to the cloud automatically.
Okay.
But you can also do manual backups
Okay.
within the app.
Got it.
And some versions on Android even let you embed images in your manual backups.
Oh, cool.
And then on iOS, it uses iCloud for backups.
Okay.
So again, you have automatic and manual options.
Got it.
And you can restore your data from any available iCloud backup.
Okay, cool. So that's all the backup stuff.
Yep.
Let's talk about automatic sending again.
Okay.
Are there any settings that I can tweak for that?
Yeah, there are actually a bunch of settings.
Okay.
So like to set up automatic sending,
Yeah.
you might need to grant some permissions
Okay.
or install like a companion app.
Got it.
And then you can usually set like a delay
Okay.
between sending messages.
And why would I want to do that?
So that's to avoid getting flagged by the mobile carriers.
Oh, right.
Because if you send like a ton of messages really quickly,
Yeah.
they might think you're doing something shady.
Makes sense.
And then you can also manage how to like pause and resume automatic sending
Okay.
and how to stop it completely.
Got it. Okay. So now let's talk about troubleshooting.
Okay.
Because, things happen.
Right.
Technology is not perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, what if I'm getting duplicate messages?
So Reach often has like some troubleshooting options for that.
Okay.
So like if you're using manual sending mode
Uh-huh.
and you're getting duplicates,
Yeah.
there might be some advanced settings
Okay.
where you can try like disabling the MMS body for SMS messages,
Okay.
or disabling the SMS body for MMS messages.
Got it.
And that can sometimes fix the problem.
Okay.
And then on Android, if you're having trouble sending SMS messages at all,
Yeah.
there might be an option to like force messages to be sent as MMS.
Okay.
But that's usually only in fully automatic mode.
Got it. Okay. So a couple of workarounds there.
Yep.
And then finally, how do I update the app and get support if I need help?
So Reach updates automatically
Okay.
on both Android and iOS.
Okay, cool.
But if you want to check for updates manually,
Yeah.
you can usually go to the apps page in the App Store,
Okay.
and then you'll see an update button.
Got it.
And then the app itself will usually have like some documentation,
Okay.
FAQs, and contact info for customer support. So,
Awesome. Okay, so to kind of recap everything.
Yep.
Reach has two main ways that you can send messages.
right.
You can use your existing phone number
Yep.
with the Reach Unlimited subscription,
Mm-hmm.
or you can use ReachLine,
Yep.
which gives you a dedicated business number.
Exactly.
And it really comes down to like what you need it for, like
Right.
how many messages you're sending and how important it is that they get delivered.
Exactly.
So like if you're just sending a few messages here and there and
Yeah.
it's not like super critical that they get there,
Mm-hmm.
then just using your regular number is probably fine.
Yeah, the standard subscription will probably work great.
Awesome. But if you're a business
Uh-huh.
and you need those messages to get through,
Right.
and you want to make sure you're not getting flagged as spam,
Mm-hmm.
then ReachLine is like a really good option.
Yeah, it's a really solid solution.
Okay, cool. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I just want to say
Yeah.
we've only scratched the surface of what Reach can do. So like it has tons of other features for managing your groups and contacts, personalizing your messages with templates,
Yeah.
even using AI to help you write your messages.
Right.
So I encourage you to like go and check it out.
Yeah, definitely explore all the different options.
And see how it can help you streamline your communication.
Exactly.
So as you go forth and communicate with the world,
Mm-hmm.
just think about how Reach can help you get your message across.
Right. And with all these different options for sending messages,
Yeah,
think about like what possibilities that opens up for you.
totally.
Like how can you use these tools to really make sure that your important messages
Yeah.
are reaching the right people?
Awesome. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into Reach.
It was my pleasure.